I knew the day would be trouble the moment I saw Karen standing at the edge of my driveway. Arms folded so tightly across her chest that her neon pink nails were digging into her skin. Her sunglasses were pushed halfway down her nose, giving her that classic suburban villain look like she was about to deliver a monologue nobody asked for. At her feet was a clipboard thick enough to file taxes with, and behind her, parked crookedly as always, was her beige SUV, the kind that looked like it had opinions about everything. My Mustang had only been parked for 5 minutes. 5 minutes I'd returned home early from the night shift exhausted, ready to shower, eat something cold from the fridge, and pass out. I barely had the engine off before Karen swooped in like a hawk spotting prey. She cleared her throat loudly, the dramatic kind where someone wants attention before they even speak. "Excuse me," she snapped. "This vehicle cannot be parked here." I blinked at her, still half tired, wondering if she was talking to me or maybe yelling at a ghost. "Morning, Karen," I muttered, rubbing my eyes. "What are you talking about now?" She jabbed her pen at my Mustang like it had just committed a crime. This is a violation of HOA regulations. Section 14, paragraph C. No loud, modified, disruptive, flashy, or non-approved sports cars may be parked in driveways overnight. I stared at her. "You made that rule up." "I did not," she snapped back. "And even if I did dits for the good of the community," I almost laughed. Karen had been trying to get rid of my Mustang ever since I moved in. I'd heard all her reasons over the last few months. It encourages reckless behavior. It attracts the wrong crowd. It lowers property value. And my personal favorite, it gives teenagers ideas, whatever that meant. But this morning, she was in rare form. "If this vehicle isn't removed within 10 minutes, she said, clicking her pen with authority she didn't have, "I will have no choice but to file a formal complaint, and I will be contacting the authorities." That one woke me up. "Authorities," I repeated, raising an eyebrow. Karen smirked. "Yes, the police, you know. People who actually enforce rules." I had to press my lips together to keep from smiling. She had no idea that the person she was threatening to report was the exact person she would be reporting to. I'd been the police chief in our county for 3 years. Not the typical stereotype she probably imagined, middle-aged guy with a mustache and a coffee stain on his shirt. I was younger than most chiefs, fit, clean-cut, with a decent record and a reputation for being calm under pressure. Karen, however, had made it her life goal to test that calm. Still, I didn't say anything. I was too tired, too annoyed, and too entertained to spoil the surprise just yet. Instead, I just asked, "And what violation exactly do you think you're reporting?" She flipped her clipboard dramatically. "This car is too loud," she declared. "It woke me up at 6:10 a.m. I work nights," I reminded her. "I get home at that time every day. And that is not my concern," she snapped. "Other people matter too, you know." I inhaled slowly. "Karen, you're awake at 5 a.m., watering your roses every single day. I hear the hose screeching through my window. I don't complain. That's different." She barked. "How?" I asked. "It's gardening," she said, puffing her chest out. "A noble contribution to the neighborhood's beauty." I stared at her rose bushes, which looked like they'd been through a war with aphids. Before I could say another word, she pulled out her phone. "I'm giving you one last chance. Move this engine-powered menace, or I make the call." She really thought she was about to change my life, but I was tired. So tired, and something inside me finally snapped. Not anger, not frustration, just the realization that Karen wouldn't stop unless she embarrassed herself spectacularly, so I calmly said, "All right, go ahead, make the call." Her eyes widened, surprised that I didn't panic. Karen lived off reactions. She fed on drama. I had just denied her the appetizer. She straightened her spine. "Fine then," she said with a victorious smile. "Let's see how the police feel about your little toy car blocking community harmony." She dialed 911. I stood there, leaning against my Mustang, arms crossed, watching her rehearse her speech under her breath, phrases like reckless driver, and disruption of peace, and threat to the neighborhood. When the dispatcher answered, she launched right into her performance. "Yes, hello, I'd like to report a disturbance. A vehicle is violating HOA rules and waking residents at inappropriate hours. Yes, I can stay on the line. Yes, send someone immediately." I didn't know which officer was going to get the call, but whoever it was, this was going to be good. Karen hung up the phone and looked at me triumphantly. "You're in trouble," she said in a sing-song voice. "Am I?" I asked. "Oh yes," she said. "When they arrive, I will personally request that they ticket you, or tow the vehicle, or whatever they think is best." "Towing it would be interesting," I said, tapping the hood. "They'd need special equipment." She glared at me. "Don't get smart. I know people." I smiled. "So do I." She didn't catch the hint. 15 minutes later, a patrol SUV turned into the street. Karen stood tall, smoothing her blouse, lifting her chin like she was about to receive a medal for bravery. Officer Daniels stepped out, a good friend, a good officer, and someone who absolutely knew I lived here. His eyes landed on me instantly, and he nodded. "Morning, Chief," Karen froze. Her head slowly rotated toward me. Chief, she whispered. I pushed off the Mustang and walked over casually. Morning, Daniels, I said. Karen here says there's a disturbance. Daniels immediately understood the situation. His mouth twitched like he wanted to laugh. He turned to her. Ma'am, what seems to be the issue? Karen's mouth opened, closed, opened again. Well, I'm not sure. I didn't know HOAstories should have told me. She snapped at me, voice cracking. You didn't say you were, you didn't ask. I said, you tricked me. She shrieked. I laughed. Karen, you threatened to report me without even asking what I do for a living. What exactly did I trick you into? She sputtered. Well, still the rule is the rule. Daniels cleared his throat. Ma'am, HOA regulations aren't enforceable by law enforcement unless there's an actual legal violation. Karen blinked rapidly. But it's loud. It disturbs people. Daniels shrugged. Then take it up with the HOA board. She clutched her clipboard as if it could save her. I am the HOA board. Daniels, God bless him, couldn't help it. He snorted. Karen's face turned red. This is not funny. He wakes up the neighborhood. He wakes up you. I corrected. Nobody else has complained? Karen, not once. That's because they're too scared to. She insisted. Or, I said, because they don't stand outside with clipboards waiting to yell at cars. Daniels turned to me. Everything good here, Chief. All good, I said. Karen stomped her foot. So that's it. He gets away with it because he's police. Daniels replied professionally. He gets away with it because he hasn't broken any laws. Karen stared at both of us, shaking with frustration. Then in peak Karen fashion, she blurted, well, I'll make new laws. I nodded. You do that. Daniels left, trying not to laugh. I walked back toward my house. Karen, however, wasn't done humiliating herself. She hurried after me. This isn't over, she hissed. It could be, I said, if you stop making everything a federal case. But she didn't listen. She never listens. 2 days later, she escalated. I came outside to find a neon orange sticker slapped onto my Mustang. Parking violation, final warning, final warning. The HOA had never issued a first one. I peeled it off and went straight to the HOA mailbox bulletin. And there it was, a brand new flyer announcing a special emergency HOA meeting regarding vehicle disturbances. Karen had handwritten the entire thing. Attended mostly out of curiosity. Only 8 residents showed up. 2 of her friends, 4 neighbors who just wanted to know what the drama was about. And me. She started with ASLIDESHOW. In actual, SLIDESHOW. Of my Mustang. Pictures from every angle, even one from inside my fence. So, she said, clicking to the next slide, this vehicle is causing chaos in our peaceful community. One neighbor raised a hand. Karen, I've lived here 7 years. I've never been more peaceful. She glared at him. That's not the point. Another neighbor asked, why do you have so many pictures of his car? Karen puffed up. Evident. Someone else whispered, it's giving obsession. Karen snapped her fingers at the group. Focus. This is a real issue. This car is a menace. That's when I stood. Karen, I said calmly, my car has never once broken a noise ordinance, blocked a road, parked illegally, or violated a single law. And as you now know, I'm literally the one who oversees the legal definitions of those violations. Her face trembled with fury. That's exactly why it's a problem, she shouted. You people think the law doesn't apply to you. I took a step closer to the front. No, I think the law applies exactly as written, and SOS don't get to invent crimes. Karen slammed her clipboard down. Fine, if you won't respect the HOA, then maybe we'll start issuing fines. Another neighbor spoke up. You don't have that authority. Karen glared at her. I do now. No, I cut in. You don't, and you know what? I'm done pretending this is just nuisance behavior. You crossed a line when you trespassed onto my property to take pictures. Everyone gasped. Karen paled. Yes, I continued. Camera caught you. Clear as day. You walked 10 feet past my fence. Her legs wobbled. That, I said, is an actual legal violation. She stumbled back. It was trespassing. A neighbor murmured. Karen, what were you thinking? Karen looked around. No allies left. I sighed. Look, I'm not pressing charges. I don't want to escalate this. I just want peace. You stop messing with my car, and I'll forget this whole incident ever happened. Karen swallowed hard. The room was dead silent. Finally, she nodded. Fine, she whispered. Fine. She left the meeting early. For the first time since I moved in, Karen avoided me. No more threats. No more stickers. No more morning lectures about community harmony. She even watered her roses quietly, and every time she saw my Mustang, she looked away. Later that week, Officer Daniels texted me. Whatever you did, she called the station to withdraw a complaint she never technically made. Peace. Finally. And the funniest part, I still get home at 6:10 a.m. I've still parked the Mustang in the driveway, and Karen hasn't said a single word since, because she finally realized the truth. She didn't just threaten the wrong guy. She threatened the guy in charge of the people she thought would save her.